Hold on to your seats because we are about to get into some pretty interesting and scary stuff. You might not be scared about things you stumble upon on land, but after watching this video, it would be impossible for you to get your mind off the possibility of scary and weird things that are caught at a deep depth in the ocean.
Scary things caught on camera. This video, taken by an ROV at a depth of 3,753 feet, shows a symbol-like object gliding across the ocean floor, but things get weirder when this creature transforms into a shape-shifting blob with shimmering lights on it. Take a look. What do you think this is? Let me know in the comments and make sure to follow so you don't miss more videos.
The great thing about having dogs or pets is that you can easily tell when something is not right with where you are or with a person by the way they react. Check out how this dog made the owner recognize the threat in the home.
Scary things caught on camera. In January 2008, YouTuber KShizzle27 came home from work to find one of his dogs seemingly disturbed and hiding under his bed. One of the dogs would come out of under bed briefly for 10 seconds and then go back into hiding. The owner starts to hear noises coming from all over his house, so he begins to investigate, but what he finds will shock you.
After watching this video, you are definitely getting a security camera for inside your home.
Creepiest home camera footage PT.2.
What are the odds that a murderer, cannibal, and necrophile would find a way to remain a free man after being caught by the police? Well, 0. But some people just beat the odds each time.
This man is a murderer, cannibal, and necrophile who never served any jail time for his crimes. Yes, you heard that right. Issei Sagawa is known for killing Renee Hartvelt in Paris in 1981. He killed the woman in her own apartment, had sex with her corpse, then consumed various parts of her body. All this while taking pictures of the corpse at each and every stage. But when he tried to dispose of the remains, he got caught by the French police. After being held for 2 years awaiting trial, Sagawa was found legally insane and unfit to stand trial by the French judge. So instead, he was admitted to a mental institution, but because of the publicity his crimes got and the fact that some people started treating him like some sort of celebrity, the French decided to deport him back to Japan. There in the Madzuzawa hospital in Tokyo, he was found by doctors to actually be sane, but as the charges against Sagawa in France had been dropped and the French court reports were sealed, he couldn't legitimately be detained in Japan. He was released from the hospital on August 12, 1986 and has remained free ever since, contrary to widespread criticism.
Do you think the whole Bigfoot thing is a hoax? If you do, how then would we explain why a number of other cultures have folklore of similar descriptions like the Bigfoot? It doesn't add up, does it?
Does Bigfoot really exist? The legendary cryptid known by the name Bigfoot, a bipedal ape-like creature that stands between 6 and 9 foot tall, is said to inhabit the forests of North America. The earliest tales of this giant in North America are estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 years old. However, legend of an elusive bipedal ape-like creature is not exclusive to North America. In the Himalayas, there's the Yeti, otherwise known as the Abominable Snowman. Australia has the Yowie. The Amazon rainforest is said to be home to the Mapinguari, while in Vietnam, they fear the Batutut. So the question is, if Bigfoot is a hoax, why does a similar ape-like creature appear in the folklore of so many other cultures? It can't simply be coincidence.
This is one of the most sadistic stories you would ever come across, and it all begins from a few stolen legal tenders, but we would all agree that the punishment was far too extreme.
The Hello Kitty murder. This one is so messed up. But you guys wanted to see it, so let's get into it. This case surrounds a woman called Phan Man-ye, and I'm really sorry if I'm saying any of these names wrong. It is set in Hong Kong, and I'm trying my best. Phan was abandoned as a baby and placed into an orphanage. Though unfortunately she would never get adopted, and she grew out of it at age 15, so eventually she turned to addiction and sex work. She would end up marrying one of her clients, but it was said to be a very abusive relationship. They had a son together, and this is when she decided she wanted to get her life together a bit more. So she left her husband and started working as a hostess in a nightclub. All she wanted was to be able to afford a better life for her and her son, but it was said that the worst of the worst people in Hong Kong went to this nightclub. She would end up meeting a man called Chan. Chan was a pimp but also a drug dealer, and the two got in some sort of relationship. He was her access to drugs. But he was also part of the Chinese mafia apparently, and she would make the worst decision of her life when one day, out of desperation, she decided to steal money out of his wallet. Unfortunately for her, it did not take long for him to realize that the money was gone, and he quickly confronted her demanding the money back. But it was already gone because she had spent it. That's when Chan decided that she had to pay in another way. In a truly disgusting and awful way. This man was truly twisted. So Chan got his 2 associates and his 14-year-old girlfriend. This man was 34 and he had a 14-year-old girlfriend? Anyways, altogether they kidnapped Phan, and they kept her imprisoned in an apartment. At first, the idea was that she'd pay her debt through sex work. But what it actually turned into was so sadistic. Over the next few weeks, Phan would experience unimaginable pain. She just suffered beyond comprehension. It was awful. They starved her and burnt her feet to the point where she couldn't walk, therefore she couldn't escape. It was said that they hung her from the wall and used her as basically a punching bag, and that all these men alongside this 14-year-old girl would take part. This is nowhere near the end of the story, so make sure you come back for part 2. Thanks for watching.
You can wear red, yeah? But what happens when wearing red is the only uniting factor to a series of disappearances in Vermont? Maybe other colors are equally beautiful.
Whatever you do, do not wear red. In the 1940s, a series of mysterious disappearances occurred in Vermont, in an area known as the Bennington Triangle. 6 people disappeared, one after the other. What seemed like a strange coincidence was that all 6 were wearing red. Glastonbury Mountain is at the center of the triangle. 6 persons went missing in the area between 1943 and 1950, and none of the cases were ever solved. What was the same for all of them was that they all disappeared into thin air, and they were wearing red. The Bennington Triangle has a history of UFO sightings, Bigfoot attacks, and Native American curses. Many people also claim that the area is a window to another dimension because of the many strange occurrences. Due to everyone eventually choosing to move, the town has become a ghost town. But although the town is completely deserted and abandoned, a series of mysterious deaths continues. However, if you ever visit Glastonbury Mountain, just make sure that...
Why did this girl tell her friend that they had to kill Bella, their other friend? And why is no one taking these cases of the Slender Man seriously? Is it really just a ruse, or is it something more disturbing?
Do you know what happened to Bella?
What happened to Bella? Is Bella your friend?
She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
Stabbed? I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
I don't know. She was taken to the hospital. Maybe no.
What? I was just wondering. Are you going to put me in prison and I'm gonna rot and die? Please don't cut off my head. I'm just a window. Hold on the outside. Sometimes I'm looking in. She said we have to kill Bella.
Okay. Okay, and do you know why she said that? Like, why she said that?
Because we had to supposedly prove ourselves worthy to Slender.
This is the horror case of Natalie Grace. This is the story of a child who might not have been a child, might have been damaged mentally, or is just someone acting out.
Do you remember the story of the adult woman who was pretending to be a child in order to get adopted? Well, the story is so much crazier than that. In 2010, the Barnett family adopted Natalia Grace, a 6-year-old girl from Ukraine. But shortly after the adoption, the family claimed that Natalia wasn't who she said she was. She couldn't speak any Ukrainian, which the family thought was weird, but she was also showing signs of being post-puberty, meaning she probably wasn't 6 years old. So the parents got a bone density test done on her, and the doctor said that she was at least 14, if not older. And on top of that, her behavior was starting to become menacing. She would stand over the parents' beds at night saying she was just waiting for the right time, and she threatened violence against the 3 other sons. One time she even tried to poison the mother. But what do the parents do? They get her age legally changed to 22 years old, rent her an apartment, and leave her in it by herself. They thought they were escaping a murderer, but many believe that they abandoned a disabled child. There's so many twists and turns to this story, and I do a whole deep dive on my podcast this week.
When the SWAT team is called to search inside a plane, you should know that something is seriously wrong. But what was the problem exactly?
After receiving reports about a suspicious item in a passenger's bag, police locked down all the terminals in the Miami airport.
They came in and told everybody to get out. The airport was being evacuated, so we all came outside, and we've been sitting here ever since.
The passenger in the bag had already boarded the plane, so the plane was stopped on the tarmac till police could arrive and investigate. The video shows SWAT boarding the plane and having all the passengers put their hands on top of their heads. The suspect was taken by police, along with his bag, and taken off the plane. He was not arrested because there was no evidence to support that he had anything in his bags.
What do you know about the Devil's Toy Box? Check out what this means and a number of other interesting creepy facts.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all these on Reddit. In Louisiana, there's a bit of an urban legend about this shack that's located in the middle of nowhere. It's called the Devil's Toy Box, and apparently it's very widely believed that the people that go inside of this box will lose their mind. There's been a couple of documented cases about this, and if you're more interested about it, I highly urge you to go check it out because it's a very interesting legend. Do you know why refrigerator doors are magnetic? Because the reason may shock you. Before the Refrigerator Door Safety Act of 1956, yes, that is a real thing, fridges would only be able to be opened by pulling on them from the outside. So on a few different occasions, kids would be out playing hide and seek, having a good time together when they would go hide in an abandoned fridge. Again, yes, this is real. They would go inside and they would never get caught, and of course, they would die inside. This is a picture of Jolie Collin. It was taken by her ex-boyfriend one day when they went to go on a hike together. But unfortunately, moments after this photo was taken, Jolie's ex-boyfriend would shoot her and she would die. He would later be sentenced to 52 years in prison. That one always riles me up and gets me very scared, and frankly, all these do, but it makes sense because
something isn't right with this girl, and speculations are that she is either a ghost or a kidnap victim who escaped her kidnappers.
Why is this little girl in the middle of the woods alone? Okay, so one night a hunter was looking through his trail cam footage when he suddenly came across this. It shows a young girl in a nightgown in the middle of the woods at night alone, right next to 2 deer. The man says he's never seen this little girl before and has no idea who she is. Most people think this is a ghost or a little girl who escaped a kidnapper. Either way, something is extremely creepy about this photo, because why is a little girl in the middle of the woods at night? This picture is a complete mystery to this day, and I wonder what she was actually doing there.
If you enjoyed these clips, check out our previous videos for more.